Freaking recording. Oh, okay, here we are. We're doing it. We're doing another episode of the pod. I am so freaking excited for this because I actually wasn't even going to talk about this topic today. And then I had this. Okay, guys, I literally have trauma from last time I did a podcast and I wasn't recording the audio. So now I'm just feel really nervous, but it's recording. Okay, it's recording. It's just my trauma. I wasn't even going to talk about this topic today. And I really like podcast episodes to feel like super just like what is on my mind at the moment so that we're really connecting. You know what I mean? Like it's not scripted out. I barely write an outline and I just kind of talk to you guys. And I asked you guys what you want to see from me today. And one of the topic suggestions just really stuck with me. And it was oh, not me messing that up. It was how to stop being insecure. Okay. And that kind of stuck with me. And I was like, you know what? Yes, we are going to talk about that today because I just think that that's really hard to deal with. And it's like an ongoing thing. Like you can't just wake up one day and stop being insecure. Like it's something that you have to kind of fight for so long and eventually it gets like better, but it's still something you have to work on like all of the time. So today that is what we're talking about. And I'm so freaking excited. Yeah, let's just hop right into this. I grew up like super insecure, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this today, is because I'm someone who like grew up historically insecure. I had a lot of social anxiety growing up. I wasn't great at making friends, and it was like always just a struggle to feel like I could be myself around people. And so I feel like a lot of people get like that, where you get really in your head about your insecurities and you kind of feel like everyone can see through you and everyone can see what you think about yourself and you just can't be cool because of that. Like you feel transparent and like everyone can see the things that you are insecure about and nitpicking on yourself. And so I was like that for a really long time. Like even in middle school, high school, I struggled with this until like junior year, because every time I would like talk to people, I just felt like, I don't know, I would like freeze up or I would get super nervous. And I wasn't great at making friends, to be honest. I didn't have like a lot of friends growing up because I just didn't really know how to be cool or like socialize or like be popular like everybody else. Like it just didn't come very easily to me. I felt like I had to overthink every interaction that I had with people, and I would get super like nervous and overthink everything and kind of just ruin any chance I had at making real friends by self-sabotaging. So we're gonna unpack that. But now I feel so much more comfortable. Like if I'm in a social setting and I have to like talk to new people, I feel so much more comfortable with myself. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm 22, so that took a fat 10 years to develop, but I just want to talk about it because I feel like certain people can make you feel more insecure about yourself than others, and like certain situations can make you feel more insecure about yourself than others. And like, you know, some situations when I was 12 years old, I felt super comfortable being myself, but most I got anxiety. And like, why is that? I don't know. We're gonna talk about it, but that's kind of why I wanted to open this episode. It's just something that I fought like growing up, and now I feel like I'm a little more comfortable with myself. And like obviously that doesn't mean that I never get insecure. Okay, let me just address this because I say this a lot, but just because you feel like a confident person doesn't mean you don't have insecure days or insecurities in general. I think that's like a huge myth that people need to debunk, because on TikTok there's all these videos like how to be that girl. And I can guarantee you that that girl still has things that she hates about herself, or things that she doesn't want people to know about, things she wants to hide. No one is ever like 100% cool. Like I feel a lot more comfortable in myself now. And that doesn't mean that I don't have insecure days or insecurities in general, but it just means that I don't let it rule my life anymore. And that is such a good feeling. And it doesn't affect like what I do or what events I go to or what people I try to talk to, because I can basically go up to anyone now and try to start up a conversation and just be myself. You know what I mean? And I think that comes from like a realization I had that is basically like, some people are going to like you in this world and some people aren't. And you just kind of have to be okay with that. Growing up, I feel like, well, I almost knocked over my day old coffee. Growing up, I felt like I was such a people pleaser. So my problem would be that I would try to when I meet someone, I would try to figure out, okay, what type of personality does this person have, and how can I match it to make them like me? Like, how can I, and I don't know if I like really had that thought thoroughly, but it was kind of like a subconscious thing. Like, I was like, what is this person like, and how can I be somebody that they like? Which is not a healthy way to approach a situation when you're trying to make a friend or meeting somebody new, by the way. And I would just try to see how I could mesh with them the best. And if that meant changing some of my personality traits, or making myself louder, making myself quieter, seem more chill, I would do that. And that is step one to going wrong. And I think this is like a natural thing. Like, I think so many people adjust their personalities depending on which friend they're with, because you could have so many different types of friends and different vibes with all those friends, different senses of humor. And you kind of just like mesh to whoever you're hanging out with. And let me just tell you, some people are going to like you in this world and some are not. That doesn't mean you change anything about yourself, okay? That is the worst thing you can do, because when you're adjusting your personality like that to try to be somebody else, you're not being you. And I know that sounds like common sense, but if you're not being you and somebody that you meet starts to like this personality that you are around them, it's not even like they like you. They're liking this personality. They like themselves, basically, because you're mirroring whoever they are, So it's just not, it's not you. This isn't you. I don't know why that sounded like a line from a movie, but it's not. And so that's the first thing. I feel like when you're trying to be cool around like friends or make friends, like, it's so normal to try to adjust who you are, but don't do it. Don't adjust who you are at all. Be yourself 100%. And some people are going to love that about you. Some people are going to absolutely love who you are when you're being yourself. And some people aren't, because some people are just, I don't know, judgy and picky and whatever. But if someone doesn't like you, and some people just don't mesh, and that's fine, that's natural. But if you're not being yourself, then you're not going to know who genuinely likes you for you if you're not being yourself. Another thing I wanted to talk about is just social anxiety in general. I struggled with this so much. Like, when I would try to make friends, I swear I would like freeze up when I was a kid, because I just like didn't know what to say, and I would get super anxious. And like, I went to a camp once. Oh my God, I don't want to talk about this. I feel like I might have already talked about this on the podcast, but I went to a camp once with like a bunch of quote unquote popular girls from my town when I was growing up, and I did not talk to any of them because I did not know how to, because I literally would just freeze up and get super nervous and feel like I was an outcast and a weirdo. And I was like, all these girls have known each other for years, and I'm this girl coming in and they're not going to like me. And I would assume all these things about them before I even tried. Like, I never genuinely just tried to be myself around them and see if we got along. And in a way, that's like self-sabotaging if you're not being yourself, because you're not even giving people a chance to like you. And if you're in your head being like, I don't like this about myself, I don't like this about myself, so they're not going to like me, and blah, 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 you don't even know what could have happened, but you already killed any chance of a successful interaction with that person. Do you know what I mean? So the first thing you need to realize is that so many people feel socially anxious. And once you realize that you're not the only person who gets like this, okay, everybody gets social anxiety. A lot of people get social anxiety, and it's not something that you're going through alone. Once you realize that like other people are going through it, you should just like calm down. Once I realized that like other people have social anxiety and it's not just me, and like probably most of the people in a room at an event are also feeling socially anxious, you're like, wow, okay, so we're all feeling the same, so let's just be real with each other. Like, let's just be genuine and not try to fake being cool. Another thing that gets in the way of like you being yourself around people is if you're like in your head about your insecurities. So if you're like, oh my gosh, my acne is really bad right now, and they're definitely going to notice that about me. And another thing that can prevent you from being cool and like being chill and like being yourself is if you're in your head about your insecurities. I promise you that nobody is analyzing you as tough as you are analyzing yourself. And I do this too, like literally all the time. Like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I have acne like all over my face, and I don't know if that looks bad. Like, should I try to cover it? Are people going to notice it on me? And you have all these like internal thoughts, And I don't know, I feel like sometimes I can be really confident about things and other days I'm not. Like some days I could be like, oh, I really don't care if I have a few like breakouts on my face. Like it is what it is. I'm me and I'm more than that. And it doesn't matter. No one's going to notice. And then some days I'm like, people are going to notice this and I feel insecure about it. So it's just like, if you get in your head about insecurities, and the fact of the matter is people probably aren't looking at me being like, oh my God, look at her one acne or look at her skin is breaking out. Like no one thinks like that. And if they do, it's because they have a deeper insecurity issue within themselves. And we should feel bad for them because nobody who is comfortable with themselves and genuinely happy is going to look at you and tear you down and like look for things that they don't like about you. Nobody wants to look for things that they don't like about other people unless they don't like themselves. Most of the time, people are going to see what they do like about you because they genuinely want to be your friend or like get to know you. And people's default isn't like, let me see what's wrong with this person. They want to know what's good about you and they want to get to know you. And if someone is searching for things about you that they don't like, it's because they don't like themselves. And that's not your problem and it never will be. So something that really helped me get out of my head when it comes to being insecure in social situations is that no one is 100% cool, okay? I know that you might be building these people up in your head. Like, have you ever met someone and then just like built the person up in your head so much before you even have like a real conversation with them? Like you maybe stalked them on social media or you just have this idea in your head from like what other people have said about them. And before you even meet them, you think that they're so freaking cool. And you're like, oh, I'm not cool enough to talk to this person, like blah, 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 blah. And you build them up in your head. But let me tell you, every time that I've done that and I've like talked to the person, they're not everything that I thought they would be. You know what I mean? Like everyone is just a human at the end of the day and no one is totally cool. People all have things that they hide about themselves and that they are insecure about and that they don't like about themselves. And you aren't the only one who feels like this. I feel like something that really helped me be less in my head and insecure is realizing that everyone's a human at the end of the day and you're no different than everyone else. At the end of the day, you could walk up to anybody and you are worthy to have a conversation with anyone you want to. I would kind of like used to hype these people up so much that I wouldn't even try to genuinely get to know them or talk to them because I would already shut out any opportunity in my head. I would be like, I'm not cool enough. And so they probably wouldn't want to be friends with me, blah, blah, blah. This is how I used to think. And now I'm kind of like, everyone is a human at the end of the day. And this person could really end up liking my personality and who I am and what I have to bring to the table because everybody is so different. Everyone has different skills and everyone has different senses of humor and like little quirks about them. And some people are going to absolutely love you, but if you don't try, you'll never know. So that really helped me because if I'm going to an event and I'm like scared to talk to someone, I don't really get like that anymore because I'm like, they're a human, I'm a human. We're either going to gel or we're not going to gel together. And either way, it's okay. If you have a weird interaction with someone and it didn't go the way you wanted, guess what? It's okay. There are billions of people on the planet and it does not matter. You don't have to go home from that experience and unpack it in your head for 2 hours. And I know we all do that, but you don't have to. You don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to be this perfect version of yourself around everybody. No one is. And you're gonna have awkward moments in your life. You're gonna have moments where you walk away and you're like, why did I say that? Or why was I being so freaking weird? Or why was that situation so awkward? And guess what? There are 2 people at least in every situation. So it might not even be all your fault. Like you can't put all this pressure on you to be perfect because you just don't gel with everybody and that's okay. So now that I know that, I don't feel as hesitant like walking up to people that I want to get to know or want to talk to because it's kind of like they're just a person. Maybe we're going to vibe, maybe we're not, and we're going to walk away from this being totally fine and it's okay. Another thing that I feel like another situation that I feel like people struggle to be themselves is romantically. Because being cool, like, I feel like I get nervous, like, making new friends and also talking to people that I might be potentially interested in. So that, everyone gets weird like this, okay? Everyone gets weird around the people they like. And I have a few tips about getting insecure around a crush, because I was not a normal girl around guys I used to like, okay? I was freaking weird. And I don't know why we get like this. Like, when you like someone, you're like immediately so embarrassing and you can't be yourself. And it's like, what the heck is going on? Why can't I talk like I normally do? And you get like awkward and you don't know what to say. And I get really insecure in like romantic situations if I really like the person. And I think that's just like really natural though. Like, that's not something that you have to fix about yourself, because these are normal human emotions, guys. Okay, being awkward, getting nervous, like, these are not things that you're like, I need to fix about myself. You just need to recognize that they're there and move on. Okay, kind of own it. Like, I don't know, if I'm nervous, like, I'll kind of just call it out in a situation, or if something awkward happens, I'll call it out for being awkward, and people like laugh at it, because you're all just human and you all realize that things are funny and you don't have to take life so seriously. Don't take things so freaking seriously all the time. If something awkward happens with somebody that you like, just call it out for being freaking awkward or weird. And a lot of the times I feel like that actually makes people like you more, because you're being real. You're not trying to be 100% cool, and you can own when you're nervous, and you can own when you mess up, or if something's awkward with somebody that you like you own it and you just move on. That is a sign of like being really cool to me. I think that's cool. I just wanted to say also that when you're growing up, there's so many like stages of your life where there's just like popular groups of people. And let me just tell you that the concept of being popular is fake. It's not real. It's like literally a made up thing. I don't understand it. But like, for example, there is probably a popular group at wherever you went to high school, or if you're in high school, there's probably a group of kids that are labeled popular, and there's like hierarchies wherever you go. And this is like middle school, high school. There's always people that are like called popular, but when I like actually went to talk to people who were labeled popular, I don't know. There just wasn't a lot of depth there. Like like, there just wasn't a lot of depth. I don't know, like, who made these people popular? You know what I mean? Like, looking back at it, I'm like, what the heck was that? Because why were these people deemed elite? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. But the concept of popular is fake. It's not real. Once you get out of high school, those people are not the cool kids of life. They were just the cool kids in high school. And then you grow up and you change, and like, they're probably doing the same thing they were doing back in high school now. Like, people who peak in high school are probably still living in that golden era. You know what I mean? So, like, the concept of being popular is so fake. And I just want you to, like, not get in your head about who's popular and who's not, because it doesn't freaking matter. It doesn't matter. And if you're in high school, you're going to graduate and go into the real world and be like, wow, I don't know why that was a thing. Something that I realized when it comes to liking somebody is that being you is the only way you can find someone who loves you. Like, I would change things about myself, as we all naturally do, just to kind of seem like a cool girl or a chill girl or whatever. And at the end of the day, eventually the real you, like, okay, let's give an example here. Say you meet a guy, right, or whoever, and you changed your personality, and say this guy was really into cars. I don't know anything about cars, but say this guy's really into cars, and you're like, okay, I love cars, okay? And you go on your whole relationship with this guy, talk about how you love cars, blah, 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 blah. Your whole date is about freaking cars. You look things up beforehand, and you go on this date and you pretend like you're into cars, whatever. Eventually, you're not going to be this person, because that's not you. Being you is the only way that you can find someone who loves you for you. Okay, that was a lot of views. If you're not like yourself when you date somebody, then they're going to not, just like friends, they're going to fall in love with the version of you that you created instead of who you really are. And when who you really are comes out, you guys might end up distancing, because maybe you don't mesh as well as you thought you did, and maybe you were just trying to please them, and that doesn't work for long term. It never does. Like, trying to please somebody and being a people pleaser doesn't work long term. I don't care if people don't like who you are. You have to be you 100% of the time. Because if you're not, then people aren't really liking you. And why would you want to be friends or date somebody who doesn't like you for you? You know what I mean? Your greatest superpower is that nobody else can be you. And once I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, no one can be me. Like, I'm an awkward, quirky, funny person, and I own that. Like, I own that I am not like the coolest person, and I kind of am like Jess from New Girl, and that's okay with me, because people that adore that about me, like, are the people I want in my life, you know? People that see who you really are at any phase and accept you at your lowest and accept you at your greatest are the people who are going to stick around. I feel like there were so many times that I met people who only liked the good parts of me, or like only liked when I was doing well. Like, they wanted to be really close with me when I was doing really well. And maybe they're not there for you when you're sad and you need somebody to talk to. And they're only there for you to go out and have fun and be the happy parts, like whatever. You don't even want people like that around you. You want people who are going to be there to pick up your crying phone calls at 2 a.m, and they're going to be there for you when you're going through rough times and when you're going through good times. Those are the people that you want in your life. So you shouldn't have to act like you have it all together. You shouldn't have to act like you're super cool and you have no insecurities and you're fully confident and blah, blah, blah. Because the people that love you are going to love you for you, the good and the bad. And you don't have to hide anything from anyone from the start. Like, I feel like people kind of think, okay, I'm going to act cool in the beginning and then start to be myself later on. Why? Like, why don't you just see if they like you for you in the beginning? And then you wouldn't have to freaking wonder if they're going to stick around. So that is my rant on that. Most of the time when you're feeling insecure, you need to flip the script, okay? You need to stop getting in your head about things, and you need to be nicer to yourself and flip your mindset. Instead of thinking about all the things that you don't like about yourself, think about all the things that you do. Think about all the things that you actually think are cute about yourself and you like about yourself. Like, for me, like, I really like my sense of humor. I think that I am a funny person. Does everybody think I'm funny? No. I friggin' dated a guy for a long time who didn't think I was funny. But like, do you see what I mean? I think I'm funny, and some people I meet think I'm freaking hilarious, and some people think I'm not funny at all. That shouldn't matter to me, because everyone has different senses of humor. Like, you need to stop taking everything so personally, because at the end of the day, there's billions of people on this planet, and everyone has different preferences of what they think is cool and what they think is not. And you just need to be yourself and find the people that appreciate you for you. Also, stop being so freaking hard on yourself, okay? You're a human, and you're allowed to be weird, and you're allowed to be awkward, and you're allowed to be insecure, and you're allowed to be unmotivated, and you're allowed to have days where you're sad, and you're allowed to not be that person every single day, okay? You can just be you, and that is enough. You don't have to pretend to have it all together. You don't have to feel like you need to impress everybody, because you don't. You can give the worst impression to people, and you will still move on with life and keep living your life, and it won't matter in a few months, and it's okay if you're not this perfect person all the time. And that's where I think I'm gonna leave this off. I have more tips, but I feel like I could just rant in another episode about it. So I freaking love you guys, and I hope this was somewhat helpful. If you're struggling with feeling insecure, let me know what we want to talk about in the next pod. I freaking love filming these. When I'm like done filming these, I'm like, dang, that was so fun. Hold on, I'm gonna sip my tea. ASMR. I think that's a really good note to leave off on. Sometimes when I end these podcasts, I start rambling and I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I'm like, ooh, should have ended that sooner. So I'm just gonna end it now. I freaking love you guys, and thank you so much for 300k on Snapchat. That is sick. I feel like a lot of people that listen to my podcast are also from Snap, so if you're listening and you have me on Snap, I love you guys. I vlog every day of my life on Snapchat, so definitely go follow me on there. It's just Niki_Patton, only 1k in Niki. And also follow me on Instagram. I try to make really cool Instagram posts, and I post a ton of advice on TikTok, so also that, and then subscribe to the YouTube. All of the things, all the places to find me. I freaking love you guys, and I will talk to you in the next one. Let me know what we want to talk about in the next episode, and I always listen to your suggestions. Usually I pick one right before I'm about to record, so yeah, let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm going back to LA in a few days. So I'll have some more LA stories to share on the podcast, hopefully. And I freaking love you guys, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.